Hi everybody and welcome to WASD 20. My name is Nate and today I am going to be taking the leap into the My 30-Day World Challenge brought to you by Absolute Tabletop. Let's do this. So the My 30-Day World Challenge is a project that is being put out there by Absolute Tabletop in conjunction with their latest Kickstarter project, which is a Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin. I highly recommend you go check it out. I backed on day one. It easily funded. It's achieving some pretty great stretch goals, and I would love to see it hit some more, so you should definitely go check it out. A Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin is a setting book. It is the guide to Dragon Grin from the perspective of the dismembered lord, the titular dead man. And it looks amazing. It looks really cool. I cannot wait to get that big old 300 and something page hardcover book in my hands. And anyway, you should go check it out and see if it might interest you as well. So the My 30-Day World Challenge is this series of 30 questions over 30 days of the Kickstarter. I think it's actually 33 days for the Kickstarter. Questions that are challenging for us world builders. Questions that answer about the worlds that we have created. And at least for me, this is very challenging because I have not created that much. For some of you who have, still share, because I think it would be very useful for some of us to hear and probably for you to articulate as well. So here we go. My homebrew world is Inshar. I've hardly talked about it at all on the channel, and I haven't really done that much world building in it. But I did create a map kind of throughout, showing the process of creating that map in my original map making videos. So I'll put a link to those up there and you can go check those out. But I didn't really know much, and this has been an act of discovery for me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to actually have to think about this a little bit. And I debated whether or not I wanted to. It's just like, it's hard. World building is hard for me. I love drawing maps. I can make a map like no problem, but in terms of actually making it a unique place with feeling at my game table, that's a lot more challenging for me. I'm really proud of some of the settlements I've developed. I've developed the dwarven city of Logriff, the great metropolitan city of Marinth, the ruined city of Belsara that now has some reclaimers trying to build in the ruins and take back what has been crumbling for hundreds of years. So there's lots of things that I'm proud of, but the first question in the 30-Day World Challenge here is, what is the 30-second elevator pitch for your world? And that I didn't know at all. And I'm still not totally sure I do, but I'm going to give it a shot here. And the second question that I'm also going to answer today is, what is the name of your homebrew world and why is it called that? And that will be a little bit easier for me. But anyway, I'm not going to be sticking to all 30 questions here. I'm just going to be kind of picking and choosing over the next 30 days here and there. Maybe I'll put one out a week. I don't know. Maybe I'll do anywhere from 2 to 5 questions. But anyway, enough rambling. Let's do this. Inshar in 30 seconds. Inshar is a windswept land that has largely forgotten its rich past. There are remnants of the past, only vague memories and whispers, but largely the collection of city-states that makes up Inshar are less developed in the arts, in magic than they used to be. These things have been forgotten and are now rare, and they are starting to turn inward more because of exterior threats from new species that are invading, as well as from an increasingly harsh natural environment. I'm going to go ahead and guess that was like 44 seconds, but I don't know. Anyway, that was my attempt at 30 seconds. So this was hard for me because, again, I've developed these places pretty well, but giving kind of a unique description of the actual world is not something I have done in the past. And I'm not totally sure I'm satisfied with it, but to get a little more into it, I favor a low magic, low fantasy setting. So the fact that it used to be more prevalent and is now more rare is something that I decided to go with. I do want my characters, my players, to be able to play magical classes, right? I want them to be able to just pick up a player's handbook and go. So I'm limited by that. I'm not ready to go out there and create my version of Adventures in Middle-earth yet, or Iskloft, which I'm starting to map for the Jarl DM, and I love those worlds. But I'm not ready to go there yet. So it's a lower fantasy, lower magic, but not like Westeros or like even Middle-earth, really. And it's got a unique feel to it. I think part of that comes from the name as well. So let's talk about the name, Inshar. Why did I call it that? To be honest, I went to Fantasy Name Generator. I go there a ton. I write down tons of names. I tweak about 80% of them. Some of them I leave unchanged. I just write them down all the time. I'm doing this, probably once a month. Just getting name ideas for maps, for maybe maps that I'm making for clients or for my homebrew world. And I love it. I love names. I think that it's very important to have a name that just sounds good. And that's what Inshar was to me. I believe that I found it, I'm 98% sure that I found it on the Mesopotamian names on Fantasy Name Generator. And I might have tweaked it a little, I don't remember, or maybe I just wrote it down as it appeared on the screen. But I really liked the way it sounded, and since it had, I love the Mesopotamian names, I really like them all. Since it had a Mesopotamian feel to it, that then prompted some world building on my part into thinking that Inshar has a little bit more Mesopotamian feel, and that kind of fits too with the increasingly harsh environment. There's been a drought, and there's a lot of desert, there's a lot of dry, arid land, and now it is very important to settle where there is water. And and most of the settlements are, the biggest settlements that are still prospering are near water. I also imagine a bit of a Persian feel at times to parts of Inshar, and maybe even kind of a Mesoamerican feel as well, where there's, I don't know, there's a lot of similarities, I think, between the Mesoamerican and the Mesopotamian in general. And so I imagine, I don't know, some kind of feel of that among certain cultures of Inshar, but more developed definitely, because I don't know, I don't want this to be the Bronze Age. That's why. That's a little bit on Inshar, my homebrew world, the name, and this is all wet cement, as the guys at Absolute Tabletop have said before. I think that's the best way to world build when you're building for an RPG. But I also think it's important, if you're building for an RPG, to have a reason that there would be adventurers, to have hooks built into the environment. And built into the world and its story. And I think Inshar definitely has that, that there's so much undiscovered. There's so much of the past that people don't know about. And I'll talk more about why that is in a future episode, because there's a very clear reason why pretty much, I'm going to go out there and say no one remembers beyond a certain point. And I'm excited to share that with you a little more. That's something I've been developing over the last week, just listening to other people's My 30-Day World Challenges as well. So I encourage you to do this as well. Take up the challenge. I think it's good for you as a world builder, as a dungeon master, and even if you've already got it pretty well figured out, it's good for us to hear what you have to say. Definitely go check out A Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin on that Kickstarter link down below. I'll also put a link to Absolute Tabletop's website. They make amazing supplements. And everybody take care. You'll see me again very soon.